Blessings, y'all. It's Jesse featuring a very loud swivel chair. I say that because despite my efforts to remain still while talking, there's a squeak occasionally. So this video is featuring a very loud swivel chair on occasion. The chair will have something to say. But in addition to the chair having something to say, the fan will as well. It's just a learning process because everything comes and goes, marked by lovers and styles of crows. The chair even has something to say with that one. Everything comes and goes, marked by lovers and styles of clothes. Things that you held high and told yourself were true, lost or changing as the days come down to you. I think the world right now forgets the power of words. I'm still working on my book, which will soon come together. I'm in the process of reframing and rearranging. As always, as a writer, I'm going to always be working on the book. That's something I've also learned to admit. Looking at anything in different ways changes the dynamic. We're not always allowed to do that freely without receiving, it's supposed to be the, questioning aspect. Someone might listen to something you're saying and they're trying to understand it and they're asking about it. And that's the thing, if you're being asked a question, if you don't know the answer, you gotta pay for that. What do I mean you gotta pay for it? You gotta pay the toll. You gotta go through the criticism, the questions, all of these things to get to where you're coming from, or at least understand. If you can't describe where you're going, or where you intend on going, then you're just in a car alongside with a chauffeur, somebody driving you. You ain't leading the conversation, you see. Or I guess you can be leading it and still not be clear until you are interrogated, until someone is really asking you, what is it that you're saying, brother? What is it that you're saying, sister? As it turns out, we are saying a lot, for even the swivel chair has something to say on occasion. I wanted to take this moment to read various passages from my latest writings, which correspond to the state of affairs the world is currently in. Everything is a process, but we must learn to streamline, simplify. A lot has passed by, and though it happened at a rate we could measure, we lose a lot of volume in the process. For when you give and take, it always comes with a reduction. The time has come to arrive and put things in order. The moment is no longer there. It has traveled to here, but the stress continues to knock on our door, inwardly itching and worrying that the remedy has not arrived. Though it has not been so long, the worry is surrounded by the reality of a global pandemic. Thus, I hope things get better and they improve. I hope things arise like the thunder would in the jungle. We could use an interruption, a lava-like lightning, intense enough to overthrow the stagnant itch. The answer to this fire is one that removes the malfunction. I hope things are like machinery in the sense that they function correctly. I hope that the bugs have gone back to their homes, or that they're squished accidentally. I hope that things are as hopeful as you would have them to be in a world like this. Getting business half done is what gets us in trouble. For we should be on the move. Life carries on whether we choose to caress it or not. I think it wise to be more tender to these fleeting moments. We are swirling around other planets and this great connected, yet seemingly disconnected world of ours. The earth is so large that our comprehension of it is very limited. The further you go out from it, you have to come back into it. The more water you drink, the more you have to elemental pee. The more you talk, the more you need to shut up and listen. The more you know, the less you really do. Everyone joins in this contradiction, no matter how divorced we may seem from this reality. What is obvious to me is usually not obvious to you.
Isn't it obvious that obviously we are oblivious to the obvious?
How do you get your information? Does your media follow a consistent bias? Does truth matter? I'm among the first to admit, anytime I hear someone talk about the truth, I start to see pyramid schemes and the many ways this truth can be spoiled through the exploitation of belief. If there is a ladder to success, surely some are stepped on with no regard to their lives. We'd like to believe the world is better than this, that we are better than this. As it turned out, the cycles remained faithful to the ever-changing transitions. All media is designed to program you and change the way you think. The internet influences through reaction and emotive dissonance. When we apply reason and detective-like tendencies, we can recognize the patterns, all the while remembering the world is large and we care mostly in the order of our proximity to convenience.
Did you hear the news? The gardeners in Green Valley had their greatest harvest yet, and the people of the city were getting bags of harvest. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, but mostly for those in Green Valley. I live in Orange Turtle Lake, and we haven't had a drop of rain since last November.
I encourage the sharing of miscellaneous cotton candy. Happiness. After all, some sweets are worth melting into the mouth. Whether people are interested enough to share in your pleasures is anyone's guess. The mass media is the agency in which your information is received, believed, processed, or shared. What we like is not always indicative of what we know, but what we're feeling at particular moments. These feelings are fleeting and often forgotten until another one comes around. When affairs are sour because of late expiration, we need not be afraid of signing off on tears which are worth the stream release from our eyes. When the veil is swiped away from the one in the box, mimicking authoritative oppression, it becomes very clear, like in the land of Oz, that OZ Pinhead, which is an acronym standing for
Oscar Zoroaster Fadric Isaac Norman Henkel Emmanuel Ambrose Diggs
OZ Pinhead, pretended all along by the projected trickery of hype. He changed his form constantly, therefore making illusion of the fact that he was an ordinary man from Omaha, Nebraska, who had an amazing technological advantage. And some still wonder why Public Enemy told us not to believe the hype. Historians and anthropologists have tracked the changes in humanity, and time we see the same habit, same time, same boogie. Over and over, time and time again, there's nothing new under the sun. The philosophers, hairstylists, and comedians all get this. Everyone is arriving at different times, and some didn't eat breakfast. Some partied too hard last night, and some got out of bed an hour later than expected. This means
Traffic jam!
turns may lead to unexpected crashes, curves to implications, and unreasonable reactions stemmed from lack of clarity. We can point to a host of reasons why we get things wrong. None of those reasons matter if we don't seek to solve it. May we align our reactions in a solution-based framework. When you feel, it gives the space to reveal the possible keys left to be turned into doors of service. The genre of music you like is completely independent to the customizations of society. For the country and hip-hop music fan, they have different tastes. Sort of how arugula has arguably a more peppery taste than spinach. But when combined, a fascinating thing happens.
A collision of nonsensical jargon that can't meet up to the ladder of glory. But there remains a story. For this reason, we carry on.
It would be a sight to witness the eviscerating consequence of lessons unlearned. As it turns out, if you don't apply reason to where you lacked it, the result remains inert. If one was to claim to have truly learned something, a pop quiz of responsibility seems to always find its way to the corridor of their life experience. It's not about if it comes, but when it does in fact come, how will you deal with it this time around? Haven't read the instruction manual, yet you have the hard-headed ambition to attempt a massive construction?
You can expect unsatisfactory outcomes.
Empty platitudes are indeed vacant of destination or appeal, not to the mainstream propagandist media, of course, but the mouths which spew such occasion. Their life karma seems cursed by the immediate and often told joke. One is forced to laugh yet again. It's a usual and common trick played by the puppet and their masters. Just repeat the sentiment and stress what is known while avoiding solution-based analysis. Of course, if you don't have a solution, it's just regurgitation of paralyzing reality. Reality that is absolutely crass, that can make you immobile. It's not that people don't want to get out. They simply are in a structured funk, one that doesn't click on a 2 and 4 or lock and key. Strings are wired, most of them fired off into the abyss. The vomit of such consequence is reported among many. Its invitation is shared freely. This rage is fundamentally understood. The juice of misfortune has spilled onto our clothes. However, it is important to note, things are changing all the time. We should always remember that. The lights are brighter, and the burden is no less on the backs of those who've been fighting or those who are just waking up. Humans in our relationship to our climate and humanity are demanded a change of consciousness.
For nigh is the time to get it on with the crunchy leaves, bushy florets, and most of all, the prize topiary vegetable pie. If it lives in the sky, lasso the handles and pull it down with the focus of a bullseye. Boogie on down with the mix of such fruits, greens, and protein. This refreshing introduction ushers in a healthy and lively scene. Resurrected tunes which harmonize in mushroom, carrot, and pepper bells cast groovy and funky spells while building muscles and regenerating cells. Brussels and clover sprout through the beets and parsley jeans, cilantro, onions, and blended beans. Yummy, yummy, yum. Salad for the tummy, tum, tum. But this ain't for the mummy or crummy one. However, the joke as it goes throws us into the kitchen, where the chef was embarrassed because his eyes witnessed the salad getting dressed with a flirt skirt made from vinaigrette and herbal concoction. Let us thank the garb of this distinguished nutrient carb, for the law of such law is enough to make our money green and our muscles lean.
This chair is squeaky.
You can't go nowhere if you see 7 7 oh.
It's button therapy, baby.